So as you come to a seat on your mat, and take a few moments and figure out a position where you'd like your hands. Even slide them up and down your thighs. Maybe rock side to side. And for me, these little adjustments before I come into seated meditation is often helpful as someone who finds it tricky to sit still, especially at the beginning of class. So once you get there, go ahead and start to stack your spine. So start with your base and feel your sitting bones, maybe even wiggle slightly. And anchor your sitting bones down. And then now just travel up your spine until you get to the crown of your head. And feel like the crown of your head will pressing up against the ceiling. And draw your shoulders back so that your shoulder blades squeeze towards your heart like a gentle squeeze. And keep your chin level with the earth. And keep your gaze soft or close your eyes. And let your attention rest to the space behind your eyes. And start to bring your awareness to your breath. Where is your breath this morning? Where do you feel it most prominently in your body? Maybe the edges of your nose, your chest and heart, or belly. Notice the pace of your breath as we start practice. And again, all of these things are just a noticing. No need to change or fix anything. As you breathe here, notice the temperature of your skin. And your skin is so expansive so that maybe parts of your body are warmer or colder than other parts. And if you find that that temperature on a particular part of your body, you'd like it to be different, you can go ahead and make those adjustments at any time. Take a few more rounds of breath here, just in stillness, just breathing. Take it one breath at a time. Maybe even listen to the sound of your breath. Okay. Whenever you're ready, blink open your eyes. Okay. So we're gonna do this transition into deer by lifting your knees up, and you're gonna swivel your feet over to your left. So I'll try to mirror you here in this moment. So the best way to come into it is if your knees were stacked, you just take your top knee, your left knee, and just kind of move it off to the side. And place your right foot on top of your left thigh so that your legs were like a zigzag pattern. And so we're gonna do deer in 3 ways. And so take your finger pads, and we're gonna start facing forward because that's just the most logical way since we're already facing forward. So if you look forward, your right shin bone is in front. So here, just take your palms on the tops of your legs and sit up tall. Just notice what this feels like with one thigh rotating externally and one thigh rotating internally. And now from here, take your finger pads and walk them in front of your right shin. Keep pressing the flesh of your sitting bones down and then walk them forward. Reach forward as much as you can without lifting off of your sitting bones. That's usually the moment where you need to come out of it slightly. And then soften your palms and then maybe your elbows and forearms down. And for me here, I like to rest my rib cage on the top of my calf. You can let the weight of your rib cage open up the outside of your right thigh, the outside of your right hip. One more round of breath here. Okay, come up onto your finger pads and then walk your hands towards you. Okay, so here we're gonna start to rotate over to the right. So now your heart is facing in the same direction as your right knee. Okay, and so take your left hand and just remind your left hip to stay anchored down. It might not be able to anchor all the way, just try not to let it just completely hike up. Okay. Take your finger pads in front of your right knee, and then same thing here, just start to walk them forward. So now you should start to feel a stretch along your left side body. So maybe even stretch your left hand a little bit further forward than your right, and then soften your palms down. Rest your belly and your rib cage against the top or the inside of your right thigh. One more round of breath here. Come up onto your finger pads and then slide yourself all the way up. Okay, so now we're gonna rotate even further to the right. So keep going in the twist. So if you're a yin practitioner, you're familiar with this. This is the more traditional variation of deer in that practice. And so before we fold forward, press the bottom of your right foot into your left thigh. So you've got a little bit of traction. And take your finger pads now. So you're going past the right knee. So maybe walking it forward from your right hip bone. Walk it forward. Okay. And then soften your palms and forearms down. So as you can tell in this practice this morning, we're going to be doing some twisting. That's sort of the theme of this practice. One more round of breath here. Come up onto your finger pads. And then as you rotate your torso forward, pick up both of your knees. You can even slide your hands underneath your knees to assist. And then just walk your feet forward and then just give your legs a little shake. So deer, putting our legs in this position is a great way for us to experience that internal rotation of the femur bone that we often see in Virasana, which is when you sit like this, okay, with the thighs together, or you can even do it in Ardha Virasana, which I do often, okay? And it's really important that we internally rotate our femurs since we oftentimes focus on the external rotation, okay? And so from here, with your knees up, now swivel your feet over to your right. Okay? And then move your right knee away from you and come into that deer shape on the other side. So we'll start facing forward, but first sit up tall. And then notice what this feels like. Now your left thigh is externally rotating and your right thigh is internally rotating. Feel your sitting bones, the flesh underneath you. And now start to walk your hands forward in front of your left shin. And then once again, in this open twist, once you feel like you're lifting up off of your sitting bones, that's the moment you've gone a little bit too far. Stretch forward and then lower your palms and maybe forearms and elbows down. And I haven't cued it, but of course, at any moment, you can tuck your chin in towards your chest. And then gaze forward and down. One more round of breath here. Come up onto your finger pads and then glide them towards you. And now start this rotation of your torso so that you're facing your left kneecap. Okay. So it's like we're doing it piece by piece. Keep pressing the bottom of your left foot against the top of your right thigh, sorry. Walk your hands in front of your left kneecap. And then before you go any further, what's helpful to me is taking my right hand and then like a crab claw, pressing my right hip towards the earth. Towards, doesn't need to be completely sealed. And then walking my hands forward even more and lowering my palms down. And to get that maximum length along the right side body, stretch your right hand forward, even past your left perhaps. And breathe into your right side body. One more round of breath. Walk your hands towards you. And then keep going. Keep rotating your torso to the left. And sit up tall first. Feel your sitting bones underneath you. And then walk your hands forward. Keep pressing your foot into the top of your thigh. And that'll assist as you lower down. Keep rotating through your low belly. One more breath. Come up onto your finger pads. Walk yourself all the way up. Rotate your torso forward. Lift up your knees. Okay. And then from here, start to extend your legs forward, but then wide, coming into Upavishta Konasana. So it's basically like a wide-legged seat here. Okay. So don't worry about how much your legs are opening up. It doesn't really matter. Take your hands behind you so that you're leaning back. Point your toes, and then just start to kind of make circles with your toes in space in one direction, circling out the ankles, and then switch. Walk yourself up. Okay, so now here, what's the most critical is anchoring your heels down and flexing your toes towards your face. So maybe that means, if you even look at me, my knees actually bend a little, okay, and that's totally fine. Notice your sitting bones down, and then start to lean forward, walking your hands out. So we're gonna stay tented on our finger pads here. Breathe into the backs of your legs. You're gonna feel a firing up of the backs of your legs from your heels all the way to your glutes. So the shape is less about collapsing the chest forward and more about activation. Keep anchoring the heels and flexing the toes towards you. One more breath. Walk your hands towards you. Scoop underneath your knees. And then bend your knees. So extend your right leg forward, but keep your left leg bent. Take your hands and clasp them in front of your left shin. Press your palms into your left shin and then just start to straighten your arms and lean back. So basically the back of your heart is pulling back, and now rest your chin across your chest and pull the crown of your head forward. Breathe into your upper back. You can even shake your head no really slowly. Okay, let's do a little bit of a seated one-legged cow and cat. As you inhale, press your palms into your shin, bend your elbows in, and pull your heart forward and gaze forward and up. Exhale, start to straighten your arms, round your spine, and curl in. Do 2 more like that. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. And your next inhale, bring your chest forward, straighten your left leg and just switch sides. Scoop underneath your right knee and plant your right foot down. Clasp your hands in front of your right shin bone. And then we'll do that same thing of leaning back, straightening the arms and tucking your chin towards your chest and gazing at your navel. As we breathe here, you can also just really slowly shake your head no. Another opportunity to release the back of your neck. Okay. And let's flow. As you inhale, press your palms into your shin. Bring your belly forward, gaze forward and up. Exhale, round through your spine. 2 more like that. Inhale. And exhale. 1 more. Inhale, come all the way up. And then both of your knees, and then move them off to the side and come into a traditional tabletop position. Hands and knees. So pad your knees as you need to, using a blanket, depending on the surface of your flooring or mat. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Press your palms down and squeeze your shoulder blades towards your side body. Gaze forward. We're gonna do a slow cat-cow. It's one of my favorite things to do, but it is really tricky to do with the breath. As you inhale, soften your belly, tip your sitting bones up and gaze forward. So this is a traditional cow shape. But as you exhale, come into a neutral tabletop position, bringing the crown of your head forward and your tailbone back. Stay here for the inhale. And as you exhale, press into your hands, knees, and toes, round your spine and gaze in between your thigh bones. Inhale, neutral tabletop, glide forward. Stay here for the exhale. Inhale, cow spine, arch your spine, gaze forward. Exhale, neutral tabletop. Stay for the inhale. And exhale, cat spine, round in. Let's do 1 more like that. Inhale, neutral tabletop. And stay here for the exhale. Inhale, cow. Exhale, neutral tabletop. Stay here for the inhale. And exhale, cow or cat spine. Inhale, tabletop, and pause here. So that exercise is really great. If you find yourself getting ahead of the practice, if you find yourself kind of like metaphorically leaning forward into the future, that exercise forces you to pause in the breath. It's really tricky, but really wonderful for that experience. Bring your knees and toes towards one another. Slide your right toes back to start. Keep the ball of your right foot down, gaze forward. And now just start to glide your left fingertips forward, but keep them tented. So we're in this like modified spinal balance with our toes down and our finger pads down. So stretch back with your right heel and forward with your left fingertips. And now use that strength and pick up your fingers and your heel at the same time so that they're about level on the same plane. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, start to bring your elbow and knee towards one another underneath your belly. Inhale, press your heel back, your finger pads forward, spinal balance. Exhale, curl in. 1 more. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, extend. And exhale, lower. Okay, let's do that on the other side. Start with sliding your left toes back and your right finger pads forward. Stretch back with your left heel and forward with your finger pads. And now, at the same time, start to lift them up. Inhale here. And then exhale slowly. Bring your elbow and knee towards one another. Inhale, extend. Exhale, round. One more. Your elbow and knee don't have to touch, just towards one another. Exhale. Inhale, extend and lengthen. Exhale, set your palm down and your knee down. Come into that neutral tabletop position. This time as you inhale, tip your sitting bones up, soften your belly and pull your heart forward for a cow. And then pause here. And then just start to look to the left and right. Like you were looking for someone in a crowd, but really slowly. On your next inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, round your spine. Come into cat and do that same thing. Start to nod your head no, like you were peeking underneath your armpit to the left and right. Then gaze towards your navel and then come back into that neutral tabletop. Walk your hands forward, one handprint. And then with your knees bent, start to lift your hips up and then come into downward facing dog. Let's stay here for about 3 rounds of breath in downward facing dog. And this morning you choose if you would like to be active and maybe pedal out your feet, or if you would just like to be still. So just listen to your body. What is your body wanting to do in this moment? And now find a point of stillness in downward facing dog. On your next inhale, gaze forward between your thumbs. And as you exhale, make your way to the top of your space. Bend your knees and allow your belly to rest on your thighs. And then gaze behind your heels. And you choose how you clasp your hands or just allow them to hang down. Just breathe here. Breathe into the backs of your legs, your hamstrings, your glutes. And then wherever your hands are, take them and place them behind your ankles. And as you slowly roll up, press down with your feet, lead with the back of your heart, and allow the crown of your head to rise last. So take your time, there's no rush. Once your spine is vertical, sweep your arms up and overhead. And exhale, swivel your hands on top of your heart, Swabhava Mudra. It's mudra that we do quite often. Soften your gaze or close your eyes. So before we quicken the pace of our practice, check in with your breath. Specifically the cadence of your breath. No need to change or solve anything. It's just a noticing. Release your hands by your sides and blink open your eyes. So from here, gaze forward and start to bend your knees, but scoop your belly in. So keep scooping it in like you were zipping up from your pubic bone towards your navel. So your knees are bent, and now sweep your arms like they're grazing the earth, and then bring them forward and up. Inhale here, And as you exhale, sweep your left arm forward and your right arm back. You can keep your elbows slightly bent here to protect the shoulders. Inhale, bring your right arm forward. Exhale, twist over to the left. So let's pulse slightly. Inhale, start to straighten your legs ever so slightly. And then exhale as you bend, sweep your right arm back. Inhale, pulse up, left arm back on the exhale. Let's do this one more time on the right. And then the left. This time as you inhale, sweep both arms forward and up. Come all the way up to standing. And as you exhale, bring your hands down and behind you. So now in this moment, you've got two options. You can take your hands to fists at your sacrum, or you can flip your hands to face up so the finger pads are facing up and the palms are down, okay? So try to avoid this way, which is the fingers down. Okay? And so from here, keep a slight bend of your knees, hug your elbows in, and then inhale, press down into your feet, and then bring your pelvis forward and gaze up for a standing back bend. Pause here and breathe. One more inhale. And as you exhale, slide your hands down your glutes, the backs of your legs as you fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. And as you exhale, fold, plant your hands and step your left foot back for a low lunge. Okay, so we're gonna do one of my favorite flows with a twist. And so from here, many of us have done this before, but if this is the first time, you're gonna take your right hand and then reach it forward towards my voice and then sweep it back behind you and gaze behind you towards maybe your left heel. And then sweep it forward, plant both hands, and you're gonna turn your toes to face the side of your mat and then keep going. So you're gonna face away from me now. Pick up your right heel so you're in a low lunge to the back of your mat. So your left leg is in front. And now do the same thing. So reach forward with your left hand and then reach it back behind you. Maybe even look at your right heel and then reach it forward. And then we'll do that same thing. So crawl forward and now you're facing forward again so you can see the screen. So let's do that one more time. One more sequence. So sweep your right arm back and sweep it forward. And then walk across your mat. And do the same thing on the left. Sweep it back and then forward. Come towards the front of your mat space. Low lunge on the right. Press your palms down. Step your right foot back to meet your left for a plank position, top of a push-up. Press your heels back and the front of your head forward. Breath in. And then exhale, lower onto your belly, either lowering your knees down or hugging your elbows in and coming all the way down. Untuck your toes. Come up onto your finger pads and then slide them wide, but lift up your elbows so your hands are tented. Press down into your feet. Inhale, lift your chest up. And this time as you exhale, kind of like a serpentine or S curve, just start to slither your way down. Lower your chest down. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, rise up, peel your chest up. And then exhale, slither your way down. One more. Inhale, lift. And exhale, slither down. Slide your palms underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Press up through hands and knees or plank. And then exhale, bend your knees. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. 3 rounds of breath in downward facing dog. Okay, and so from here, you can either just gaze forward towards your mat. You can even just like come to a quick seat on your mat. So the next shape, we're going to try to equalize the left and the right. So we're gonna step our right foot back, but I'm gonna give you an option, okay? You can either do exactly as we did with that sweeping arm back and then switching. It's not gonna change anything about the pattern. Or if you would like, you can add this lounging lizard variation, which means that when you sweep your left arm forward, you also turn both of your feet. So you'll see it's the same. And then when we walk to the back of our mat, the same option applies, rolling to the outside edges of your feet. Okay? But if you choose not to do that, it's the exact same thing. So you'll be able to follow. Okay? So let's try it. So come to a standing forward fold at the top of your mat. Step your right foot back behind you for a low lunge and then gaze forward. And as you inhale, sweep your left arm back and then maybe roll onto the outsides of your feet. Exhale, plant your hands and then crawl towards the back of your mat. Low lunge on the right. Inhale, sweep your right arm back. And then exhale, turn. Inhale, sweep. And exhale, turn. One more time on the right. And then the left. Turn towards the front of your mat space. Low lunge on the left. Plant your palms. Step your left foot back to meet your right for plank, top of a push-up. And as you exhale, lower all the way onto your belly. Maybe lower your knees down. And tuck your toes. And so from here, take your hands and once again, tent them, lift up your elbows, press down into your feet. Inhale, raise your chest up, gaze forward. And then exhale, slither your way down. Two more. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Okay. And then stack your palms underneath your forehead. Rest your forehead down. Pause here in a pranam. Start to cool your breath down. And we're not done with a flow, but just an opportunity just to rest for a moment. And pick up your forehead and slide your palms underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes. Press up through hands and knees or plank. And then bend your knees. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze forward. And exhale, walk your way forward to the top of your space. Okay, so we're gonna sort of change our flow slightly. Same sort of baseline principles apply. Step your left foot back for a low lunge position. Okay. And then this time, you're not gonna turn your toes, just sweep your right arm back behind you. And pause here. And so now you're gonna take your left hand and then come up onto your finger pad. So lift up slightly, come up onto the ball of your left foot. So you're a little bit higher. And now, can you reach your left arm forward towards my voice? And then now, take your left arm, bend your elbow, and place it along the outside of your right knee. Make a fist with that hand. Take your right hand and place it on top of your left fist. Yeah. So we're in a prayer twist. It's just a completely different entry point than you're used to. Breathe here. One more round of breath. Keep lifting up into your right elbow. Okay. So untwist, place your palms down, and then now turn your toes to face the side of your mat, but just pause here for a moment. Okay. Bend your left knee. So the knee is going to be bending forward. Gaze towards your right foot. Stay here or maybe pick up your right toes so you're on your right heel. So you're in a Skandasana. Okay. And so now come up onto your right foot and then come to the other side. Maybe picking up your left toes and gazing to the left and just pause. So this first round, we just hold either side. Now let's just move from the left to the right. So that might mean that both feet just stay planted. Just bend your right knee and your left knee, like you were swaying your hips side to side. Okay. And so now walk your hands towards your left foot and spin both of your feet forward and pick up your right heel. So you're in a low lunge to the back of your mat space. And pause here. And then sweep your left arm forward and back and gaze behind you. So you're in like a variation of a revolved lunge. Pause here. Now, come up onto your right finger pads. Come onto the ball of your right foot. So notice that you just lifted up slightly. And you can even do that again so you notice the difference. As opposed to sinking down, now you're lifted up maybe like 3 to 4 inches. And now can you reach forward with your right hand? Hug your low belly in. Bend your right elbow and then hook it across the outside of your left knee. Make a fist. Place your left palm on the top of your right fist. Maybe gaze forward and up. Lift your left elbow up. Place both hands down. Turn to face the side of your mat space. Okay. And so from here, you're in a wide-legged forward fold. And actually, let's just forward fold for a moment. That was kind of an intense shape. So just forward fold for about 3 rounds of breath. So now come up onto your finger pads and heel toe your feet towards one another slightly. So you're still in the wide-legged forward fold, but a little bit less wide. And take your left hand and then reach for the outside of your right shin bone. If you can't reach it, scoot your heels in a little bit closer to one another. And so as you reach your palm around your right calf muscle, and now keeping your sacrum level, like if you had a cup of tea on it, it wouldn't spill. See if you can bring your torso over to the right, twisting it to the right. You can keep your right finger pads down or place your hand on top of your sacrum or reach it up. So you're in a pressurated twist. And bring your fingers down underneath your nose. And then now do the same thing on the other side. So your right arm is going to clasp the outside of your left shin bone. So make sure you have a firm clasp here. And then start to rotate your torso to the left and choose where you'd like to place your left hand, whether it's on your sacrum, lifting it up, or you can even just keep your hand down. Okay. Unwind, heel toe your feet towards one another. And then come back into a hands and knees position for tabletop. Okay, so let's actually take this opportunity to come into a child's pose before we do something a little bit more active. Keep your knees and toes together and then just walk your hands forward. So it's a closed knee child's pose. Walk your hands forward and spread your fingers wide. Start to cool your breath down. Just start to gaze forward and come up into a tabletop position. When we were doing some of those intense prayer twists, my daughter just started to laugh uncontrollably. I hope you didn't hear that, but yeah, it's like she was laughing at us. Tuck your toes. Okay. And so from here, we're gonna do that same variation of what we did earlier. Take your right toes and slide them back. Left fingertips forward. Okay, so make sure that all 5 fingers on your right hand are spread wide and evenly, and you're pressing the corners of your hand down. That's gonna assist you here. Hug your low ribs in, and then pick up your hand and your foot. But now start to hug your your heel in by bending your knee. And take your palm and then sweep your left arm behind you. See if it can clasp the inside edge of your right foot. And then press your foot into your hand. And then maybe rotate your torso to the left. Breathe here. Keep rolling your left shoulder back. Unclench your jaw and don't hold your breath. Make sure you're still breathing. Relax the expression on your face. Lower your knee down, release your foot. Come back into tabletop. Okay, so let's do that on the other side. Slide your left toes back. Right finger pads forward. And pause here. Okay. Now engage your core, hug your low belly in. And then again, before we move, I forgot to mention this, spread your left fingers wide and evenly and press into all four corners of your left palm. Pick up your left heel and your right hand. Bend your left knee, hug the heel in, and sweep your right arm back. See if you can reach for the inside edge of your left foot. And then press your foot into your hand. Rotate your torso and gaze to the right. Roll your right shoulder back. And breathe here. And lower your knee down. Release your foot. And come back into that child's pose with your knees together, or if you'd like, you can bring your knees wide. You choose. Walk your hands forward and keep them tented for now so that your elbows are actually lifted and your arms engaged. Squeeze your glutes and your heels towards one another, and then start to walk your hands over to the top left corner of your mat. Your hands can be side by side or stacked. Walk your hands towards the midline and then to the top right corner of your mat. Keep stretching your fingers forward. Walk your fingers forward and then slide forward. And we're actually going to swivel our feet forward. So keep your knees bent, your feet about hips width distance apart. Okay, walk your hands behind you. Actually, let's lower onto our forearms here behind us. And so the goal is to keep the elbows about underneath the shoulders. It's really hard to measure, so just trust yourself. You're probably doing it fine. Lower your palms down. Okay. And then just feel your pelvis tilting forward and back. You're gonna feel like it's rocking forward and back. Okay. So now as you inhale, start to tip your pelvis forward, draw your heart forward, and then gaze forward and up. So press down with your palms, your elbows and forearms anchor down. Shoulder blades hug towards your spine. You should feel a deep opening in the front of your shoulders. Stay here, or you can start to straighten your legs forward. One more round of breath. Okay. And then just start to slide onto your back. Bend your knees. Come into a constructive rest position with your feet wide and your knees together. And the traditional fish shape is one of my favorite shapes to cue. And it's one of the shapes that, for whatever reason, when I moved to Colorado, I only saw supported fish in the classes that I was taking. So I'm trying to bring it out west. It's a really popular one to do in New York. And bring your feet together. And scoop your right knee in towards your right armpit so it's slightly wide. Keep your left knee bent for now. And then start to bring your right knee across your body and to the left. So both knees are bent, and it's almost like if you were to look from space, your legs are in like a deer-like shape. And so you can stay exactly as you are, rolling your shoulders back. If you'd like to go a little further, you can take your right hand and reach down. See if you can hug your left heel in and reach for your left foot. That might mean you can clasp it or maybe not. So just reach in the direction of where you think your left foot would be, and then sweep your left arm up and overhead. So yin practitioners in the house know this as cat pulling its tail. But of course, we won't hold it as long. Take a few more rounds of breath here. This deep twist. If you have your left foot, slowly release it. Bring your arms by your sides and then roll onto your back. Bring your feet down. Let's do that on the other side. Scoop your left thigh in and towards your left armpit. Just give it a little squeeze. And then move your knee across your body and to the right. And then before you go any further, just pause. Allow your left knee to hover over the earth. Maybe it touches or maybe it doesn't. Keep rolling your left shoulder back. You can stay here or start to reach with your left hand towards the direction of your right foot. It might take you a moment to locate it if you actually want to grab it. And then stretch your right arm up and overhead. Just draining the lymph node on the right side. Just take deep belly breaths here. Take a few more rounds of breath here. And release your foot. Bring both arms by your sides and then roll onto your back. Adjust your hips so that they're in the middle of your mat. And come to a constructive rest position. Okay. And now, bringing your feet together, bring your knees wide and soles of the feet together. Supta Baddha Konasana. And if you feel like your low back is super squished, press into your feet and then slide your tailbone behind you. And then lower your sacrum back down. Hollow out your pelvic bowl, the space in between your pelvic bones. These are the pointy bones that you feel along your hips. And again, just take really slow but deep belly breaths here. Cooling down our body. Take your hand to the outsides of your knees and close your knees like a book. And then use the strength of your low belly to gather your knees in. And separate your knees now and allow your big toes to touch, your big toe mounds to stay together. So you're in a supine child's pose. And press your spine down. You can stay here or reach for the outsides of your feet for happy baby. And you can stay still in this happy baby, or if you like, you can take it like a swaying action of rocking from side to side. They feel really good along your kidneys to do this little rocking action. So release your feet and bring your knees together. Extend your arms by your sides. Keeping your big toes together, press the balls of your feet directly up. So your ankles are above your hips. Okay. So we're going to do a little sacral equilibrium exercise. So the intent is not necessarily to do like a last minute core exercise. It's more just so we can come into a really soothing shavasana. Keep your left leg up and slowly lower your right heel towards the earth. And then bend your right knee and then press the ball of your right foot up. And do the same thing on the left. Lower your left heel towards the earth. And then bend your left knee and send the ball of your left foot up. Okay. So now lower both heels so they come about halfway down. And then bend your knees and press your feet up. So this time, as you lower your right heel, slowly lower your right heel all the way down. And then do the same thing on the left. Slowly push out through the ball of the left foot until your heel lowers down. I bet you can really feel your sacrum now. Relax your ankles and your toes. Your hands can just go wherever they like. They can stay by your sides or you can flip the palms up. And make sure that you create space between your shoulders and your earlobes. And notice the cadence, the quality of your breath here. Notice where the breath is the most prominent. Your nose, your chest or belly. But as we start to close down our practice and settle in to our final shape, can you breathe like you are trying to press the breath to every corner of your body? Allow your body to rest. I'll call you back very soon. so you can keep your body relaxed and your eyes closed. And you're at home, so you can always stay exactly as you are. If you'd like to wake up your body, start by wiggling your fingers and toes. And reach your arms up and overhead. Gather your knees in towards your chest and roll to one side. And pause here in a fetal position. And press your palms into the earth and come up to sitting. And once you're seated, swivel your hands on top of your heart. And breathe into the base of your hands. Spread your fingers wide. As we bow our head towards our heart, we honor one another. And when you're ready, lift your gaze